everybody, and welcome to another episode of Surviving the Badge.
So bad.
I'm your host, Ronnie, co-host Camille, co-host John.
Hello.
And tonight we're going to be talking about the Alec Baldwin shooting case. I'm sure you've seen it on the news. It's starting to die down a little bit, so we're here to fester that thing right back up again and talk about
tweak it. Absolutely.
Absolutely. But first, of course, the most important thing we're going to do is go to the beer moment.
Woo! So tonight we're going to try Sailfish Lager.
Yeah.
That's the name of the beer, Lager. So it's a
she
very
looks
simple
like.
name. So it's by the Sailfish Brewing Company out of Fort Pierce, Florida.
And hopefully this one doesn't explode.
Hey, no explosion.
Our last week's show,
The Marquis Floyd episode.
the Marquis Floyd episode, where our beers kind of exploded in our hands and went all over the bar.
Yeah, we would love to have you watch the entire episode, but if you just got to watch the first 5 minutes, not even, and you'll see how wonderful it is.
Yep, live TV, right?
Live TV.
And then watch Ronnie open the second one and it do even worse than his first one did.
Yeah, that's why I waited. I'm like, is it good?
Because he doesn't learn. Well,
Oh, that's a lager.
it's got a good color of a lager.
That's like it's got the Pilsner. It's got
Pilsner
that Pilsner
look,
look,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
So,
I like.
all
Salute.
right, now,
Salute.
I am normally a lager drinker, so let's see.
Flavor to it.
No, what is that smell?
Camille, did you shower?
It actually smells really bad.
Is that the coriander?
It's the sailfish.
Oh, they put real sailfish in there?
It
Yes.
smells like sailfish. It actually tastes really good, but I don't know.
That's a good flavor.
If you can get past the initial smell.
So John,
No, I don't. I honestly don't smell anything. So
Really?
Yeah,
I can't
don't.
either. I was wondering, like,
You don't smell
no,
that?
I don't smell much.
it's got a
Look
good.
at this nose.
That's true.
The nose knows.
Look at this nose.
All right, Ronnie, what's your score on this?
Man, taste-wise, it's smooth as glass. God dang, it's smooth. I'm going to give this like a freaking 8.5. I like it a lot.
Well, we needed to know what time it was. He'd lay down and we'd use it as a sundial.
All right, go ahead, smartass. Yeah, we put a pencil in your belly and do the same thing.
Yeah. Well.
Anyway, go ahead.
I don't smell anything negative about the beer. It's not as sharp as I would like it to be. A little crispness. A little more crispness.
For a lager, definitely. Lager should be nice, crisp.
So I'm going to give it a...
Say that again.
Crisp.
You're
Like Charlie Crisp.
Right.
So I'm going to give it a 7.
A 7, okay.
7.
So
Yeah.
8.5, 7. What do you
Yeah,
got, Bubba?
I think a 7 is a good solid number. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah. So with our grading of I'd like to thank our sponsors. We have 2 sponsors tonight. One is Kenny's Groceries, located at 1792 in French Avenue in Orange City. They have 5 million.
They say 500.
Okay, yeah. Seems like 5 million when you go in there. And then our second sponsor is C&R Constructors.
C&R Constructor, general contractor out of Central Florida, doing commercial build-outs. They do residential remodels and rebuilding. And they also have a services division to take care of any commercial needs you may need on the service end. Thank you, guys. We really appreciate your sponsor.
All right, so today we're going to, before we go into our episode, I'm going to talk about our fallen officers. Since our last episode in October, we've had 7 officers, which is a decrease from the times before. That brings us to a total of 402 officers died in the line of duty this year, which is up 33% from last year.
And the worst season is not even here yet.
Well,
Christmas.
yeah, no, I know. August so far this year has
the
been
worst?
the worst. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of the 7, 3 died from COVID, 2 from gunfire, and 2 from vehicle crashes.
We failed to do this on the last show because I was a little busy. Salute to those fallen officers.
Absolutely.
Thank you for giving everything. We appreciate it very much, and all of America appreciates it very much.
Rest in
Thank
peace.
you. Rest in peace.
All right. With that, we're going to talk about the Alec Baldwin case. I have mixed opinions. I'm going to put it out there.
No.
Right. I'm going to put it out there.
Can you find the middle ground?
No. No, because I'm either on one side or the other. So he is such an anti-gun, anti-police, anti-NRA that I
Nut.
right that. But in this instance, I could see it being an accident. So, but
An accident on his part.
right? He definitely pulled the trigger. So
That's a good point
right.
on his part.
Right.
So go ahead.
So if you don't know, Alec Baldwin, he's the producer and the actor in a movie called Rust. Yes.
I just want to point out.
Yes.
It is very important that he is the producer.
Yes.
That means he's the man in charge.
Of
he
everything.
pays all the bills.
Yes.
The director tells people what to do. The producer pays for everything.
Yep.
He's responsible for everything.
Absolutely.
Sort of like the owner of whatever company you work for. They're the ones who's responsible.
Yeah, totally. So the premise of the story, I don't know the entire storyline, but Rust is named after Harlan Rust, who is a grizzled outlaw, and essentially they were in a wooden church out in the desert.
New Mexico, right?
Yeah, New Mexico. Yeah. And the scene is that he's in the church and he has to draw his weapon because the bad guys or the good guys or whatever are out to get him. And then he engages with the bad guys. So what happened essentially is there was a rehearsal scene. So he's sitting on the pew, and one of the armorers who is in charge of the props and the guns and the ammo and the blanks and all that
There
says,
was two, right?
yes.
Yeah.
One of them says, here's your gun for this scene. It's cold, meaning
Safe.
safe.
Right.
No ammo in it because it's a rehearsal. We don't need blanks. We don't need anything for rehearsal. So he's like, thank you very much. It's a Colt 45. It's a long Colt. You know, it's a classic
Western
weapon. Yeah.
Revolver,
single
right?
action revolver. Yeah. Not a double. You have to pull the hammer back.
Okay, so that's a single action.
Single action is you have to pull the hammer back. Just a little background. I meant to do this. The reason why I'm doing this episode is I have a little background on firearms. Firearms instructor.
A little. Yeah.
Firearms instructor for 2 agencies, an armor for a couple of agencies. Been to tactical schools, things like that. So
an armorer is someone who can work on the guns, take them apart, fix them, repair them, make sure they're in good working
and
order.
they're certified by the manufacturer to do the work.
That's what an armorer is. Just in case you didn't know.
So rehearsal, cold gun. He's sitting there. The cinematographer is filming.
Right.
The director standing right next to. Okay. Let's do this shot. He pulls the Colt, points it, fires. Guess what?
Right at the camera.
Right at the
that's
camera.
where the shot was.
Yep.
Yeah.
And guess what? Not a cold gun.
Bam.
So the witnesses said.
How many rounds? Just one, right?
Just one. Well, just one shot was fired, and the witnesses said it sounded like a whip.
Right.
Shot rang out. Went into the cinematographer.
Hold on. Because blanks make noise.
Yes, absolutely.
Blanks go off. They
Yes.
sound like a real gun. I'm a little less, but I mean they sound like a real gun.
But from what I understand, cold doesn't even mean blank. Cold is empty.
So nothing.
Nothing. It was a
Okay.
rehearsal.
Oh, okay.
They didn't really need a blank for the rehearsal.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought it had blank. Was supposed to have blanks
No,
in it.
it should have been because, like I said, it was just
Dry
a
fire.
rehearsal.
Okay.
Dry fire.
Right. Completely empty.
Pulls a gun,
Wow.
shoots it, and it goes off. It goes into the cinematographer. Her name is Helena Hutchinson, just a couple of feet away. She grabs her midsection. It went through her. This is a 45, which is a relatively large caliber gun. Goes through her and then into the director. There's a lot of velocity behind an actual
But guys,
gun.
a normal 45, okay, is this long, about yay long, and it's about as big as probably your ring finger.
Just think about a half an inch, because .45 is close to a half an inch in
A
diameter.
45 long Colt, the casing on it is this long, okay? It can be used as a rifle round or as a pistol round.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this long, same diameter. So there's a hell of a lot more powder behind a long Colt 45 than there is a regular 45.
So Ronnie tells his wife he has a 45 long Colt.
Yes, of course.
And
Don't
she's
we all?
believed it for 25 years, baby.
So the fecal matter hit the oscillator. When the
You
round-
set it up perfectly. You're like, it's this big.
Shut up. Anyway, go
It's
ahead.
this big.
it
Nubbins over here.
nubbins. So shit hits the fan, right? Nobody expected it to have a live round in it. Nobody really expected it to have a blank in it. But it went through the cinematographer into the director. They 911 call said, everybody's probably heard the 911 call. You know, we've had a shooting from a prop gun. We have 2 injured. So the cinematographer went to the hospital. She died at the hospital. I mean,
What a shame,
it's essentially point blank
What a shame.
range. It is. So that's essentially what happened. She went to the hospital. The cinematographer died. Director injured, but survived. My first question I have is it a prop gun if it actually shoots ammo?
No.
No,
That's a gun, right?
it's a real gun.
Right. I don't know why because you can make a gun into a prop gun where it just shoots blanks.
Now, back in the old days, and even now, you can put a blank into a real gun.
Yes.
And it'll fire.
Yes.
But everything that I'm watching and reading and everything else, they have guns that they bring on these movie sets that will only fire blank rounds.
Yes.
If you load a real round into it, you cannot chamber it. It will not fire.
Yeah.
What happened there?
So a lot of things happened here. Complacency, lack of training, lack of supervision,
Knowledge.
So the investigation, 3 search warrants were executed on this
Movie set.
So law enforcement obviously gets called to the set.
Dum, dum, dum.
They executed 3 search warrants. She was shot with a live 45 caliber round in the chest, passing through her. This is what the autopsy showed. And they also found out that there had been 2 other incidences of. So in the day we used to call them accidental discharges.
Yeah, ADs.
Right, but now they're negligent discharges because you should have checked. It's not an accident. It's on you.
Sort of
checking.
Which
There
really,
are no vehicle accidents.
Right.
We had traffic
Crashes.
crashes.
So the terminology in firearms is it went from accidental AD to ND, negligent discharge, because it's on you. You should have checked.
Do you ever have any? You?
Yes.
Where?
I was
Or just tell us how.
I was working on a gun at a competition, and it was my fault. 100%. Nobody got hurt. It just went off.
In the ground?
Yeah, in the ground.
In the ground.
Where I was pointing it.
You?
Nope.
Me neither. Ever witnessed one?
I never actually witnessed one. I know
Yeah.
stories.
I can. Let me tell you
So
my
I'm standing.
story.
Hold on.
Okay.
Now it's my turn.
Okay.
I'm standing out back of a PD in Volusia,
Yeah.
and we're all unloading our guns. And every night we had to take out our 12 gauge shotguns.
Okay.
And they teach you
Suck
rack the
them out.
round down, pull that round out, hit the little button up inside, to pull them out. Well, I hear this guy over here, shoot, boom, and I go, whoa, and of course I duck and freaking scared the shit out of me because it's next car over.
Shotguns are a little different than a.
And I look, and there's 6 perfect holes up in the flashing on the back of the building. And everybody looks at this guy and goes, what the bleep? And he's just standing there going,
That's almost as good as this one time I did hear about an accidental discharge or negligent discharge of a taser.
Oh, okay.
yeah, right into the visor, baby. Pow!
So
Nobody got hurt.
So I was.
Who did that?
We all know
Me.
We all know this individual. I got a call one day from this officer, and the officer asked me over the phone, "Hey, Camille, these guns are not supposed to go off without the magazine in it, right?" And I told this officer, Why, yes, they will totally go off
Absolutely.
without the magazine in it. And he hangs up. He goes, okay, thanks. So later I talked to this officer. And
Which is great about Glock, because if you had that one
and
round.
there's been shootings where officers have been shot in the hand and they've accidentally dropped the magazine. And
Still got one round.
The older guns, like some of the Smiths, wouldn't fire.
No, they wouldn't.
So anyway, I got with this officer later and said, so just between you and me, what happened? And so this officer said that they were off duty and they were explaining how safe that the Glock was to their neighbor. And he says, look, you take the magazine off and it won't even go off. BAM!
Oh.
And I did work as a detective. We had a teenager drive into the 7-Eleven at the East 7-Eleven in our town, and apparently he had a gunshot wound to his stomach.
Ooh.
And we got there, or I got there, and paramedics got there.
Gut shot.
Yeah. And so they're working on him, and I'm getting a GSR from him and everything.
What's that?
Gunshot residue.
And
So
what do you do there, real quick?
So you dab the hands to see if there's any gunpowder residue, see if he's actually the one who fired
the gun.
Right.
All right, let's let
Sorry.
I'm letting our
No, you're the boss. That's
our
good.
civilians know.
So he passed away, but and what had happened is he and his friend were handling their dad's gun, and they didn't realize that it was loaded, and he ended up. It was actually him who shot himself. He had gunshot residue in hand. The witness said, "Yeah, hey, look, blam!" and it went off.
Oh,
and teenager, like 17 years old.
Well, how about the 3-year-old that was
Oh
playing
my
with
God.
the ladies
Yep.
on a Zoom call, and the 3-year-old picks up the gun and pow, kills her on the Zoom call.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God, dude, what the heck?
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to the
Okay.
case.
So back. So there had been a couple other instances at this set. The stunt double for Baldwin accidentally fired a blank after being told the gun was cold. A member of the props department actually shot herself in the foot with a blank.
You all know.
So there had been a couple of instances already. So I don't know if this was the Keystone Cops in dealing with who were in charge of the armory, but it's like if somebody hired me to be in charge of the armory for all the shit would be locked down.
Well,
and I would have okay, this is what I would do. Day one of the shooting of the film, I would have a safety briefing as the armorer. And I would say, listen, I am here to help you be safe and go home alive. There are 4 things you need to know to understand that. A, every gun is loaded. If I hand you a gun and I say it's cold, you need to say, you're lying, this gun is loaded, and check it yourself. And I'm going to show you how to check it.
And here's how you check it.
Right. I'm going to show you how to
Absolutely.
check it. Second, never put your finger on the trigger unless you're ready to fire it. Third, don't point at anything you're not ready to destroy. And fourth, know your surroundings. That's the safety briefing I would have had as the armorer.
now let me ask you a question.
And anybody who's handling guns, I would have taught them how to shoot it, and I would have gone over it. This is how we keep it safe. Now I understand in a movie set you gotta point a gun at somebody,
Of course.
but let's do it safely. Let's lock this shit down and say we're gonna do it safely. John.
Now, well, in reference to that, anytime in all my career in law enforcement, anytime I handed a weapon to anyone else, I showed them it was unloaded.
And the slide was
Slide
back.
is back.
Yep.
Magazine is out. Boom. It's either the slide is locked back or at least pull it back so they can inspect the chamber.
Yep.
And then they check it themselves.
Yep.
I hand it to you, and now you're going to slide it back again, and you're going to check it.
Or it's already slid back. Absolutely.
Now I get it in an old. I'm sorry.
Or if it's a revolver, you open the wheel.
Well, on these
Now,
you can't.
You can't, but
You have
you
to
have
open
a,
the peephole.
you have a swing gate right there where you load.
But when you pull the hammer back, and that's where the teaching.
Yep.
He could have pulled the hammer back half a click and went click, 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 click. click, revolve the
Exactly.
cylinder, and went, okay, it's good. Swing gate closed, click, and now I'm ready to go.
Now I believe you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Right.
And this is where the other half
But
of my
he hates guns.
right. This is where the other half of my brain comes in. Alec Baldwin.
Are you going to cover how many rounds were on site?
I eventually
Okay.
yes.
Okay. I won't go there.
So he's so anti-gun, anti-NRA. If he had just taken these 4 simple rules from the NRA, he would not be in this situation whatsoever.
Absolutely.
Or had someone who was actually in the NRA actually on his side.
Right, but even if you have somebody who's in the NRA, he should still say, listen, I know that these are the rules. I'm going to take this gun from you that you tell me is cold, and I'm going to double check it myself.
By the way,
But he
John
didn't-
did not bring beer tonight.
But
just
he
saying.
didn't do that. And
Ooh.
all
Would
right.
you like a Modelo?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
So during the investigation, the gun that was inspected, they looked at the guns. There was a total of 500 rounds of ammunition.
I was gonna say.
Live ammunition?
With
Yes.
well, it was a mix. It was a mix of blanks, dummy, and live ammo.
Okay.
Okay, we don't know exactly
And why was there live ammo there?
That is the key question. If I were the armor, I would say no live ammunition.
But why was there? What were they doing with the live ammo?
So during the downtime, the crew was taking this gun that they
The one that
used,
they're going to use in the movie?
Yes, sir.
and would go out in the desert and plink cans with it. They actually went, it's like, oh, we'll just go plink some cans during the downtime.
Oh, we used to do that all the time at work, right?
Right.
No.
And
I
taking
know.
people who had never shot guns, who said they wanted to learn how to shoot out into the desert,
Yeah.
you know, on the back of the set or whatever. And the armor, from what I understand, was teaching them how to shoot these firearms with live ammo.
Not
Now-
the time or the place.
Big freaking
Although-
no-no,
No, no,
man.
no.
So
So
keep saying armorer. Is she an actual armorer,
I don't know.
or is that the
claims
that's the
to be.
title.
Well, the reason I'm
I
asking
don't know.
is, I mean, they have all sorts of names for
Yeah, well, that's
people
what
on
she was
set.
called, so I don't know.
I know. I just want to make sure
when
we're not.
when
Yeah.
LT, when we were doing simulation training, and we all showed up, and I said, all right, everybody who has a live gun, what do you do with it?
We went out to the car, and a safety officer followed them to their police car, watched them take their gun, all their ammunition, their taser, their spray, their asp, and
knife,
everything, knives,
Any weapon.
and lock them in the trunk. If they had any weapons in the car, anywhere but the trunk, they had to secure them all in the trunk, take them out of the front of the vehicle, any secondary weapons. Then they were patted down completely like they were a suspect. And then their car was searched, interior of the car, because I was one of the officers that was doing the training for that. And they, a band was wrapped around their arm, and they were told if you had a band, you had been checked. If you left the training area, even to walk back to your car to grab something, you had to be researched completely by one of the range safety officers.
Yep.
And we never had an AD. Not once in the 10 years I was doing it did we ever have an AD.
No, because there were precautions put in place.
Protocols
Obviously, when
put
you're
in
dealing
place.
with cops, you're going to deal with live ammo. We
Absolutely.
even had boxes
Yep.
with padlocks on them to secure ammo, guns, all
Absolutely.
that stuff.
Everything. Yeah.
None of
Later
this-
on.
Yeah,
when we
none
first
of
started
this.
it, you had to put it in your trunk and lock your trunk.
None of this happened. So they recovered 3 firearms that that were actually functioning. They were real firearms. They're not prop guns. I have a problem with everybody saying it's a prop gun. If it shoots live ammunition, it's a firearm.
It's a real gun.
They
absolutely.
sent a lot of the ammo to the FBI to
Right.
find out if it was actually a functioning
And
ammo.
it was.
Right. So Baldwin kind of, sometimes we say things that we probably should not say.
Yeah.
In 2017, there was a shooting in California. See, California where an officer was fighting a suspect, and the suspect was grabbing for his gun, and the officer ended up shooting him. Alec Baldwin, hater of cops, hater of guns and NRA and all.
Absolutely.
He sent out a tweet. I wonder what it's like to wrongfully kill someone.
I don't know.
Oh, I'd like to know.
Sorry, guys. I had to get a shot of Cooper the Wonder Dog, who sits in here with us every single show and makes sure that we are safe. Anyway,
That's
good.
right.
So yeah, he said, I wonder what it's like to wrongfully kill someone, to an officer who was justified in his use of force.
That was on social media.
Right, he tweeted it out.
Well, what do you know?
Yeah, imagine that. And he's someone who, if he's such an anti-gun guy, he's in so many movies that he's shooting guns. And
Oh, a lot of them.
right, I don't. So this is the other part of my brain. I think it was an accident. I really think it was truly an accident.
I do too.
But I think that
Is that against the law, though?
well, let's.
It's an accident on his part.
Let me finish my thought here, and then we'll talk about the legal aspect. I think that if somebody on the set had just taken the time and said, "Listen, I know you hate guns, but let's just be safe for a minute, and these are the 4 rules, and if we abide by these rules, nothing will happen."
I agree.
Okay. I think it was an accident out of ignorance. Okay. Now, let's talk about charges.
I think that whoever was in charge of that firearm, notice I didn't say prop gun,
Right.
that firearm, I think that they should be charged with felony culpable negligence.
And what is culpable negligence? John, what is culpable negligence?
It's when you do an act with, basically an accident, but you should have taken reasonable care for this accident not to have occurred. So, handing a loaded firearm to someone and saying, it's cold,
Let's say you
shouldn't have-
let somebody jump on a skateboard and they grab a hold of the bumper of your truck and you're driving the truck. And you know if you go down the road at 60 miles an hour or 30 miles an hour, something could happen.
Right.
They could fall off that skateboard, crash, hit their head, and die. And you're driving that truck and you say, yeah, go ahead, let's do it. And you put it in gear and they cried, yeah, they're stupid for doing that. But you're stupid for allowing them and making that happen. And that's what she did. She allowed this live firearm to make it somehow on the set, which she was in charge of. She was in charge of all firearms, ammunition, blanks, whatever the hell they were.
Yeah, and to that point, apparently in the box, there was a mix of live ammo and blanks in the same box.
That proves my point right there, and his point too, is that's absolute culpable negligence on I believe.
Okay, now we're going to get back to a point I made earlier that I think is crucial, and especially the 2 previous incidents that you said happened. Okay, there were 2 incidents of negligent discharge or improper behavior, at least on the set.
Right.
Alec Baldwin is the producer.
Yes.
Who's responsible for that set?
He is.
So
Did he say, we need to have a safety meeting?
So is he, as he pointed out, culpably negligent? Is he responsible for the safety on that set since he's in charge of it?
We have to prove that he knew about those instances, because we only know about these instances through interviews.
Criminally, I say no for Baldwin. Civilly,
As a producer.
As a producer, I say
Civilly, I think he's
You know what?
responsible.
The thing is, you guys remember Union Carbide, like in the 80s?
Yeah.
right.
So you understand that the owner of Union Carbide, so if you don't know, if you guys are younger than I, or
Most everybody is.
yeah,
Other than him.
Union Carbide in Nepal,
Yeah, Nepal.
Nepal, India, they were making a chemical, and there was an accident. It killed thousands of
Thousands of people.
and they held the owner of the company criminally liable for that. They are
different country.
It is a different country, but you have today, I mean, they're looking to hold gun manufacturers liable criminally for weapons being used in crimes just because they made the gun.
Yeah.
So we'd have to look at what the New Mexico law
that's
is.
the important thing.
Yeah. What is their law on culpable negligent? Is it just the individual who did it? We did a mock trial at our school the other last year, and it was a student who was driving, and there was another kid they like to take videos, and the kid got on top of the car to dance, and the kid got in a crash, and the guy on top the kid on top of the car died, and they charged the driver of the car.
Similar to what he was saying,
Right.
grabbing riding a
exactly.
skateboard and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So ultimately,
So what I'm saying is, if you're ultimately responsible as the producer
Yes.
for the entire set, including who's hired, okay, just like negligent retention,
yeah,
okay, you hire someone who's been charged with sexual harassment.
that sounds familiar.
Well, but if someone is terminated for sexual harassment and then someone else hires him or her with that charge already having been leveled against them,
And it happens again.
and it happens again, all of a sudden you're kind of lit.
So as a
Liable.
producer, you should have known
Or
who you're
yes,
hiring.
yes,
You have to do a background.
yes. Okay, now it's kind of amusing. One time, my son-in-law got hurt at work, but he worked for a small company, and my daughter had only worked for larger companies. So when he got hurt at work, fairly significant injury, did he fill out an incident report?
Probably not.
Well, no, because it's a small company. They drove him to the hospital.
Yeah.
They don't do incident reports. I'm sure anytime there's a safety issue and all that stuff, there's incident reports done. And someone's responsible for reviewing them and addressing them.
So Joey popped in. I can't read the statute because he copied the whole thing, not the statute itself, but like
Is that for New Mexico?
the link. And no, it looks like it's FL
Okay.
statutes. Joey, I can't click on the link. I apologize, but he said I charged this guy for a DUI case. He said I charged this charge for a DUI case where a man hit a power pole and knocked out a block of power and caused another person to crash and die because the lights were out. Culpable negligence, he just said. Because all the lights were out because of his crash, DUI, he crashed into the pole, killed all the lights, and another guy come down through there with no lights going, crashed and died. He charged him with culpable negligence. Great example, man.
Right.
Let us know.
A real life example.
Yeah, if you know if that ever went to trial or if the guy ever actually faced the charges or not, because we know how our state attorneys are.
So I want to believe that New Mexico, I forgot the agency that's working this case. Is
It was the sheriff's
He
department.
went to jail on that charge, convicted.
Yeah.
Good job, man.
This sheriff's office, I want to believe that they're ultimately going to charge somebody for.
Someone's going to get charged with a crime.
It seems like it because
For sure.
Now, it's a matter of, because right now they're still trying to determine who handed Baldwin the gun, who loaded the gun with whatever, who
Well, they're
failed to
saying
check
that
it.
one guy,
some
he
people
handed
say
it
was
to
a director,
him, and he held on to it while he rearranged the holster, and then he handed it back to him, but he only had it for a second. Whatever, man.
So if let's say you're the armor, John, and you say, "All right, we're good to go," and I'm just a schmo. Hey, give this to Mr. Baldwin. I'm like, all right. He said it's cold. Am I responsible or are you responsible?
I would be if I'm the one who's certified, who's trained to check
Right.
to make sure it's safe, and I hand it to someone and say it's not. I am partially responsible, but again, if you follow the rules that people say, every gun is loaded until you verify that it's not.
Yep.
Okay, Alec Baldwin is somewhat responsible
Absolutely.
in that regard.
He is honestly, maybe not legally, but he's honestly 100% responsible for not checking that gun.
Okay.
Oh, he's going to pay
But-
out millions.
But I still think, as the producer, with 2 other incidents on that set of gun problems, okay, after the first incident of gun problems, okay, we're having a meeting, people are getting fired, and we're getting new people in here.
No
Okay.
ammo on set.
Now he has taken action
Yeah.
to correct it.
No, I agree.
Without taking action to correct it, he's responsible, I believe, civilly and criminally. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
So-
no, I agree.
So, last words, John. Charges for whom?
I would say probably for the armor or whoever it was that stated it was safe and then handed it to him. And then I also think, as producer, Alec Baldwin is criminally liable.
You think so? Reality-wise, what do you think New Mexico is going to? Who do you think are going to file charges on?
I think both.
Okay, Ronnie.
I say
LT?
the armor criminally negligent for the culpable negligence, and any of her assistants that were in charge of that. I think they all get charged. I think they'll let Alec walk because of all his money and influence and everything else. But civilly, I think he'll settle out of court for probably $10 million to the family. And let's not forget, guys, this poor family of this producer, of this videographer, you know, God rest her soul. I hear she was an absolute angel. And, you know, I really feel bad for her family as they go through this. They lost a loved one.
Yeah.
And you know, even though I cannot stand Alec Baldwin, and I won't watch anything that he does, I feel for the family. But I don't think they're going to criminally charge him. If they do, it'll never go anywhere. But that's just my opinion.
So I think that they're going to charge the armor or somebody who is in that realm. I don't think they're going to charge Alec Baldwin, but I think a wrongful death civil lawsuit will definitely.
Oh, that's
be
a
forthcoming.
guarantee.
That's
Yeah.
a given. That's a given.
Yeah. That's all I think.
Well, listen, guys, we really appreciate you watching. If you're watching us on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe down below and hit that notification button. We really appreciate it. Like the video. We really appreciate all you guys watching. It really means a lot to us. You guys are like family to us, and we really appreciate having you out here watching the show and giving us your input and feedback and this and that. We try to answer everything we can. Just remember, we also have podcasts on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. I'm missing any other of the podcasts. And
Stitcher, all the standard ones.
We're on
Yeah.
Twitter now. And
yeah, we're on Twitter. What's the other one? Instagram. Thank you.
Yep.
Facebook. So hit us up if you want to see us do another show.
Have a topic
on
for
something
us.
different. Please let us know. We would absolutely love to get topics from our audience. We do research them, and we will do the topics that you bring up. We try to do stuff that's, you know, in the kind of the news now. But hey, if it was 10 years ago and it was a big case and it never got solved, or you know, you'd like to hear our opinion on it, please let us know. We'd love to talk about it, or anything. We'd love to talk about it. Stay tuned, because I'm going to start doing some Ronnie's rants, and they're going to be like about a 10 or 15 minute long thing during the week between our shows, where I talk about various items in the news or just stuff that pisses me off. And
That grinds your gears.
grinds
Which is
my gears.
basically everything.
Yeah, pretty much everything. So
And always remember,
We still
got your six. Thank you guys very much. Salute.
Salute.